there, and welcome to the Radiant Goddess Show, where wisdom and empowerment meet. Today, your hosts are Jasmine Srinika, crystal singer, and
Julie McAfee. And thank you for being with us here today. We have Brian with us, and we're just so excited to have our first man on the Radiant Goddess Show. So
imagine that, a man.
So could you please share our title and
Yes.
a little bit about Brian? Could you please share a little bit about your work and just about your work? We'll just start right there. So Jasmine, our title on this Radiant Goddess Show is?
So it's all about, for you wonderful Radiant Goddesses out there, and thank you for tuning in bi-monthly to our show every first and third Tuesday of the month. Today's topic is how the divine masculine stands in support of the divine feminine, and we have no one better than our expert, Brian Piergrossi, who is the author of The Big Glow and other books. He's going to tell you all about his programs and his insights. But today, Brian is really in service to our Radiant Goddess audience, just to share a little bit about how the divine masculine is anchoring on our planet at this time and his own personal journey that has brought him to his work. So without any further ado, welcome to the show, Brian.
Thank you both so much. It's great to be with the Radiant Goddesses. Nowhere else I would rather be right now. And I love the topic. I think it's a really important topic, and it's a topic that people are really engaged in, you know, around the world. So excited to delve into it. And it's something that I've given thought to and spoken with people about. And I'm actually doing a workshop related to the subject coming up, which I haven't actually put out there yet. So it's exciting.
Well, you'll have to tell our audience
I will have to.
about it, and
I will have to
know about it. So
yeah.
If you could maybe tell us a little bit about your journey, what brought you to your awakening, to writing your really groundbreaking books, and to doing this work, stepping into it fully as your dharma and your mission at this time.
Sure. Well, I think that from what I discovered, there's a pretty universal theme in what brings people to spiritual awakening, and that's suffering and pain. And it can come in a variety of ways, but what we think is, you know, our darkest moment, if we can accept it and embrace it and look for the lesson, the opportunity in it, is the gateway to our awakening. You know, so to realize that, especially people that are listening right now that may feel they're going through something really difficult, just to realize that everything is here for our growth, and everything is here for our to support us in self-discovery and self-realization and awakening. So for me, I had a chronic fatigue syndrome that came on quite suddenly when I was 20 years old, and it was a lot of, you know, chronic pain each day, and went on for a long time, went on for years, but gradually improved as I made shifts in my lifestyle, body, mind, spirit. And that was the gateway for me to look deeper into life. You know, that was the real opening for me to really inquire deeply into what this life is really about, and who am I really, and why am I here, and what is my purpose here. So what initially was very jarring, you know, and disorienting and difficult, became the gateway for the spiritual path once I accepted the journey.
Beautiful. And I know you're also a musician and an artist. How did that play any role in bringing you deeper into the heart of this work through the lens of your art?
Yeah, well, what's interesting is really those things really opened up after I started my journey. Okay. So there was this huge infusion of creative energy that wasn't really there before, at least not in nearly the same way. That sort of opened after the journey came, and I started to be able to write poetry. I didn't really know much about poetry before that, or definitely didn't write much of it. And as poetry started coming out of me, I learned to play the guitar and to play music. And I really feel like the what I call the universal creative intelligence, you could also call God, and the creative energy of an artist is really the same. You know, it can express itself through music, it can express itself through poetry, it can express itself through filmmaking, express itself through making radio shows. But what I'm interested in is what I call being a life artist. So for people to express this creative energy of the divine in every aspect of their life, in life itself. Just walking down the street, speaking, talking, thinking, feeling. And this is really the essence of the radiant goddess too, right? It's that creative energy that just flows through you in each moment, and you're in the flow of it, you're in the energy of it, and you're able to be the embodiment of it just in your natural, effortless essence of who you are, and just share that presence with the world.
Beautiful. For our viewers, I think, Julie, it would be great if we maybe have, a couple of definitions that we can share today. I think maybe, Julie, you can share your definition of what you really think, the divine feminine is in her balanced integration and in her unbalanced integration, because these are really are the women that we serve. So all of you radiant goddesses tuning in today. And also for Brian, we've just heard about his story where his body was literally burnt out. So his circuits were really overloaded. And he'll tell us a little bit more about his journey to this awakening. But for you, Brian, what do you feel in terms of a definition that the divine masculine is in its balanced form, and also that we as women have the divine masculine within ourselves? So what do you see this integration as being between the divine masculine and the divine feminine within each being? So kind of opening it up to you both.
So I'm actually going to start because I feel that really what's happening with the divine feminine, the radiant goddess, it's really an awakening that's happening. And so with this awakening, which is happening to many people like Brian, going through this challenging time in life, and then really kind of breaking out, shedding the layers that no longer served him, and really cultivating this inner alignment with his mind, body, spirit, soul. And then in this creative flow of the ability to play music and do poetry, it's like an awakening. So with the radiant goddess and this feminine rising since 2012, I believe, there's been this cultivation period where women for many generations had a fear of speaking their truth because they carry DNA that reflects the memories of, oh my gosh, if I speak my truth, I will be burned at the stake. Or if I step into my power, I will be killed. I will be stoned to death. So all these past life situations and stories since 2012, we are less susceptible as women to dormant our power and dormant our voice and shrink. We now are in an expansion period and mode. So as the radiant goddess expands, as the feminine and the divine rising occurs, and we shed these layers like a snake, we actually are able to support the masculine in a deeper way. And so just like men have been programmed or that's the feeling I'm trying to say.
Almost like repressed
suppression.
Suppressed.
To be like, work from 9 to 5, make money, provide. They're hunters and they naturally want to provide, and women are gatherers. They naturally want to come together in sisterhood and children and such. But what's happening in 2017 is that there will be a huge interweaving of the masculine and the feminine. And so people like Brian, who are conscious and awake, I invite you to go to his Facebook page. I invite you to go to his website. Brian, what's your website?
The easiest way is thebigglow.com, thebigglow.com.
And so I invite our audience to listen to Brian and really feel a lot of the balance of the masculine feminine that's weaved in within his energetic field and his whole intuitive ability and consciousness. So that's what I believe is the evolution of what's happening with men. So when we talk to Brian, about his consciousness of the radiant goddess, it was just such an easy yes. It was like it was such a great connection. And so Brian, can you share with us what you see, because of this life experience and life change with you? I'd also like you to share more about your work and how you are of service now because you've gone through this transformation, and also how you see the radiant goddess, the divine feminine.
Yeah, there's a lot of different, there's like, as you know, there's so much territory to delve into. I want to share something that's coming to me what's more about my journey and how it relates to everything we're talking about, which is, and I know it's a common thread that I see for men. So you'll have this kind of 3 stages that I see. So you'll have a man who's kind of sort of the macho kind of thing, machismo thing, and that's the conditioning. And then there's something that jars that, and there's some kind of spirit wants to enter, which puts the man in a receptive energy and puts him in a feminine energy. So most men then that are on the spiritual path kind of go to the feminine energy, and from that point there's another stage that a lot of men have a challenge moving into, which is integrating the masculine energy back, but now from a conscious awakened place. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Yes.
Can you just give our viewers a bit of what that looks like? And with your own coaching clients, these men, they're coming to you like struggling. Brian, what happened to me? I lost my mojo. What's going on?
It's even worse because I don't even think they even realize that. Like
Right.
They think that they're in the flow, they're in the spirit, and they are. There's nothing wrong with it. It's a journey, but there's this other level of integrating, which is what is happening collectively on the planet right now, the integration of the masculine into a conscious awakened space. So my message is that these masculine qualities, that these kind of low vibration machismo masculine qualities, they're not bad qualities. They're good qualities. It's just they're not coming from a conscious place. So if you awaken them to a conscious place, then they can be used for the service of the whole instead of for self-centered, fear-based, delusionary purposes.
So what does that look like if we just give our ladies an example of a man who's come to you and he's gone through this process of awareness? What are some of the key qualities our ladies, maybe noticing in the awakened man who has integrated his divine feminine and divine masculine aspects?
So first off, to be honest, I would say right now it's more women that are saying, hey, my man or this guy, like, how do we get him to shift this consciousness to awake? So they're pulling the man, right? So what was the second part of the question? What are the qualities come into being?
What does it look like?
I think that there's these qualities that, a sense of direction, a sense of purpose, even things that people would think that are negative qualities, even a sense of, this word's a tricky word, but a certain sense of aggression, in the sense of like initiative. That's a better word. A sense of initiative, like taking action, making things happen. Even the sense of competition, in a sense of playfulness. All these things. Everything has its place. Everything has its value. Nothing is bad. Nothing is wrong. It's just a matter of integrating into the larger whole. And we're in a place now where in the predominant world, in the kind of mainstream culture, the masculine qualities are still seen as essentially better, and the feminine qualities are seen as weak or weird or whatever, or they're not even understood. And then I find when you get into kind of the new age world, it sort of flips. And then because we're trying to balance it, so then the feminine qualities are seen as kind of the more spiritual, and then the masculine qualities are seen as kind of like dark and the cause of, pain and suffering and bad things that happened in the past. So what we want is what Julie was saying, is to embrace both, to embrace the beauty of both aspects and have the conscious awakening of both aspects, right? So it takes both men and women to like embrace these aspects and say these aspects are not bad. They're not evil. They just need to be brought light to them. They just need to be conscious, and the same with the feminine aspects. And that's the beauty of the polarity. There's a lot of kind of, as far as like a relationship goes, as far as a sexual or romantic relationship, even if it's between two men or between two women, the polarity of the masculine and feminine is what makes it really, really alive and vibrant. And we don't have to lose that. We don't have to lose that. We can actually play with that and consciously bring that into being more and utilize that energy, which is the creative energy. That friction between those two poles is the creative energy that brings all of us and has brought all of us into being, and it is also the energy that we were talking about earlier of art and music and film. And so it's something that's beautiful and doesn't need to be diminished or be afraid of.
So it's really an opening on, it's so beautiful, Brian, thank you. So it's really an opening on all energetic levels. It's yin and yang. It's the masculine and it's the feminine. It's the balance between our creative outlet and our and other areas. So it's really it's like humanity and the conscious collective is, there's a thread being interweaved into our being in alignment with like I call it, our divine essence or our souls. And so I see also a lot of permission, giving ourselves permission as women, as radiant goddesses, to speak our truth, right? Giving other women permission. And that's why we're doing the Radiant Goddess Show. That's where we're holding space for so many women on the globe. And so the masculine is nothing without the feminine, and the feminine is nothing without the masculine, because they really reflect this power back and forth. And as we weave together, the potency of the masculine and feminine for humanity will really shift even more. As we know, many of us know it's already shifting. So Brian, could you share with us some really simple examples through your work that you've seen for our audience? Because I know I can get way out there, and I can.
We want to know about these real guys who are dragged by their women. We're listening to the women, and the women were tired of this. So what happened to them? Yeah.
What is that?
I think that there's a lot of really awesome men that are awakening, that are conscious, that they're coming into this being, and they're around the world. And I think that it's important. Like, one of the things I see that's with women is it's easy to get kind of cynical, and get this kind of complaining.
Let's talk about the maligned masculine. In our work, we encounter this all of the time. Women who have felt the collective fear, shame, and repression of the unbalanced masculine on our planet, which is also unbalanced our ecology. It's leading us to the brink of environmental disaster. So this real rift in the unbalanced masculine is evident. However, some of the women we work with are projecting all of their frustration, from these thousands of years onto the men. And there's a real difference between the unbalanced and unconscious masculine energy and really this awakened divine masculine energy. So we would really like to set some of those preconceptions and prejudices right, because we don't like to hear that our beautiful men are going around being maligned by frustrated women. So we understand this frustration.
Yeah, I think a really important thing for everybody on the spiritual path is a sense of responsibility. So like, I know for myself, the more I've gone into this path, the deeper and deeper I go, there's this deeper sense of, there's no one else to blame, the sense of responsibility. And we go into the sense of responsibility, and it's actually empowering. That is the ultimate sense of empowering. It's like, I don't need to blame you. I'll take responsibility myself, empower myself, and it all flows together. Forgiveness, love, empowerment, peace, freedom, all aligned in the same space.
Would you agree it takes both the man and the woman to accept their responsibility in the relationship dynamics, right?
Right. And the thing is, men and women have been here together since the beginning, you know? So whatever the dynamics happen, we must be equally responsible for it. And we're equally responsible to shift it and bring something different to being that we're called to evolve into being. And then, you know, the same thing on when it comes to our personal relationships. You know, like I was saying how, you know, women or men, but in this case, I'm focusing on the woman, can get really in a cynical space about men and there's no good men and all this sort of thing. But then, you know, I know both of us are familiar with the law of attraction, and what you put your attention on, you get more of, right? So why put your attention on those men, right? There are really great men in the world. Celebrate them, acknowledge them, appreciate them, and you'll get more of those men in your life. And if you want to create a special partnership with someone, you can create that from that like vibration, you know? So it's just being mindful of what we want to create in our life. And then, of course, the responsibility of, am I embodying that in myself? Am I resonating that frequency that can attract that back to me, you know, in my life? And life always gives us ways and lessons to show us where there might be a blind spot, or where there might be something that we're not aware of, or unconscious, you know, conditioning. So life is such a beautiful teacher that's there for us.
It's mirroring back to us, just
Yes.
like our relationships are mirroring back to us. Those parts
Yes.
haven't been integrated and healed. Julie does this work so beautifully with these soul fragments that are to be reintegrated and cleansed and brought back so that we can be in wholeness within ourselves. And then we can hold space for the wholeness of every being that we meet in this space of love. In this space of unity consciousness. I wonder, I just feel so guided now, Julie, if you also agree to invite Brian to share a process or meditation with our beautiful radiant goddesses today, and our radiant gods, if you're also tuning in, to take us to that space, to take us to this magical mirror where we really can be forged anew, and we can emerge unified.
Let me do a short guided meditation.
So it would be lovely.
Okay, maybe just like, I'm envisioning like 3 to 5 minutes, something like that.
Perfect. Just a little taste.
Little taste. Okay, so let's close our eyes. And one of the keys is really being aware of the breath. Always to be aware of the breath and tuning into the breath. So slow, deep breaths in the bottom of our stomach. And we're just practicing breathing, and we're just allowing everything to be as it is. Allowing everything to be exactly as it is. Allowing our thoughts to be as they are. Allowing our feelings to be as they are. Allowing the sensations in our body to be exactly as they are. Just noticing what's here, being with what is. The external sensory perceptions to be as they are. An unconditional relationship with this moment, an unconditional relationship with the now, which means an unconditional relationship with life, an unconditional relationship with ourselves. And in this space, there's this receptivity, there's this relaxing, opening, surrendering, this feminine receptivity, this relaxed, opening, surrendering. The more we relax and open, surrender, the more we feel the power of this energy flowing through us, moving inside us. Just feeling how good it feels, liberating it feels, ecstatic it feels. Breathing, slow, deep breaths. Just feeling there's nothing that needs to be done in this space, nothing that needs to be accomplished, nothing that needs to be figured out, decided, or understood. Just resting in the essence of our being, feeling the fullness, the beauty, the magic, the miracles that's here right now. Exactly as we are, loved as we are, free as we are, wild as we are, peace as we are, empowered as we are, one with all of creation, the essence of the universe, exactly as we are. Let's take 3 deep breaths together. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And let's exhale with a little sigh. When we're ready, you can open our eyes with fresh, innocent eyes as if we're seeing life for the first time. Take a few moments to look around the space. Notice if things feel more vibrant, alive, colorful, present, here, and now.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
It was really beautiful.
So beautiful to be held like this. Gorgeous.
Yeah.
And my screen is brighter.
Yeah.
And my pink is more pink, and my
Mm-hmm.
wall is more full color.
And I'm feeling, because I'm so somatic, just this expansion of space around, just the expansion of vision and envisioning, and also the not doing, and just the receiving, just the being.
Yeah.
It feels so good just to know you're supported and you're held just in the being.
Right. So that's the feminine, right? That's that sense of, exactly what you're feeling is that sense of the feminine. And I think another point I'd like to make is that when we talk about power, we tend to think of power, because it's the way we've been conditioned. We tend to think of power as the masculine aspects of power, and tend to not realize the feminine aspects of power. So to be able to just be and rest in your essence and relax in your essence, and have someone hold the door for you and open the door for you, and you can walk through and be caring for you in that way, is extraordinarily powerful. So there's this perception of like, oh, the guy that's opening the door, he's the one who's powerful. He is, but the one who's being doors held for them, it's like the queen, right?
Absolutely.
Like careful for them.
I think this is such an American thing. I don't know, but like, I love it when people show their kindness to me through this caring, and I love to extend that in kind. So it's true, where there's love, there doesn't need to be this struggle of power. There can be this open flowing heart of the giving, receiving that knows no end. When we're afraid of what Julie and I have talked about before, is this capture and control paradigm that the divine feminine feels like, the woman is lured and then she's captured, and now, the divine feminine is breaking free. I think that there is that mistrust towards the masculine. But all of our lovely reading goddesses on this show, through Brian's meditation, you could feel where this comes from. You now have a somatic point of reference in your body to feel, is it the capture control paradigm? Is it a power struggle? Or is it really the celebration of the queen? Is it really this divine masculine wanting to give to the queen and uplift her and embrace her? Do you agree, Julie?
Yes. And what I love about this is that there's a pure, true presence element to this whole. It's being so present and so in the moment that it's the potency of just being present in our lives with each other, like we were in that meditation, is like such a golden key and opportunity for us. And I would like to read, hopping into the masculine, I would like to share more about Brian's book. And I'm actually going to read, usually we introduce with a bio, but this kind of captures it all, Brian, all in one, about his gift of this book, The Big Glow. Insight, inspiration, peace, and passion. Highly anticipated and unique in its structure, Brian, The Big Glow, is a book which has the ability to awaken the consciousness and open the hearts of readers from all walks of life. Drawing inspiration from writers such as Rumi, Hafiz, and Walt Whitman, yet with a fresh, new, unique voice, all of his own. Brian presents you with an invitation to take a journey with him toward embracing the miracle of this moment in all its majesty and utter amazement, and live from the deepest truths of your heart. It is an invitation to uncover the brightest light, the big glow, shining within your own soul, to relax and open into a new dimension of living. Through poems, stories, essays, and aphorisms with inspiration, insight, depth, raw passion, lots of humor, and flowing descriptive beauty. The Big Glow is a passionate and inspiring poetic invitation to awaken, liberate, empower the human spirit in all its divine potential and wonder. Now it's your turn. So this is Brian. This is what he is sharing with the world. This is one of his books. This is, what is possible when you remove the veils that no longer serve you and really drop into presence and into your divine enlightenment, into giving yourself permission to step into the radiant goddess. So Brian, when did this book come out?
It came out in actually 2008.
Wow.
And what's beautiful about it is there's a timeless quality to it, So
timeless.
There's timeless wisdom. So you could just pick up the section in the middle here or there, and it speaks to this essence of, what you read is, I hadn't heard that in a while. I'm like, wow, that's really good. I want that book.
Well, our readers do too. So can they order it from your website or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Amazon has it also.
Yeah, this is lulu.com I'm reading off of.
And Brian, can you tell us a little bit about your workshop as well that you're going to be doing? You haven't yet announced. This is a really nice scoop for our Radiant Goddess.
Yeah. I have to think about it. I think it's August 21st. It's a Saturday. And I have a colleague named Tisa Sophia, and this workshop will be in Asheville. And we've just we've done some retreats and things together before, and just really noticing, probably like similar to what you both are noticing, that there's just this really need for speaking to the masculine and feminine, and realizing the difference between the two energies, and honoring the difference between the two energies, and realizing what's what, and when one's manifesting, when the other one's manifesting, how they play with each other, recognizing which is the essence of who you are, and just the value of that as the interplay of the duality that creates everything in the universe. So we're excited to bring a group of people together in Asheville, North Carolina, and have some discussion and also some experiential exercises. And I see it as the beginning of more to come, because I think as you both feel that it's something that's really, there's a real calling for it. And that's really how it's coming to being, is people are actually calling us for, calling me for it and calling her for it. And we need this,
Beautiful.
This is important. Yeah.
So is this an annual event, or is there a calendar on your website that people can go to and see when and where these events are? And also, what kind of people come to your retreats and your events? Is it more couples, or is it a certain age group, or is it just a bunch of different ages that are,
This is a new venture, and it's actually not on the website yet, but it will be the next week or so. So they can check the website and see. And we're anticipating, couples and single people will both be welcome. And then, as far as generally speaking, there's really a wide range, of ages and kinds of people, which I appreciate. I mean, I've had people over 80, people, teenagers, the full range, and the full range in between.
Beautiful.
So, yeah.
Beautiful. And I did want to say to our Radiant Goddesses out there that you should definitely sign up for Brian's newsletter. He shares some pretty profound stories and inspiration in his newsletter that you're not going to find anywhere else. So the link is also on your website, Brian, for that?
Yes. Yes.
Great. And then I think we didn't ask you what your definition of a radiant goddess is, which I think, Julie, is really interesting for us to hear from Brian, how he's.
Yeah, I was thinking about, what we were talking about earlier, and how when there's that sense of radiance in the goddess, when that sense of radiance in the feminine, there's just that sense of, and, unfortunately in our society, there's so much emphasis on the physical, but the core of this is not a physical essence. It's an energetic vibrational frequency. So there's a sense of radiance and beauty and the essence and the spirit of who you are, and it just radiates out. And I like to think of like a flower, a flower that's just in bloom, right? And so when you're in that energy, when you're in that vibration, when you're in that feminine essence, people are drawn to you. People are drawn to you, and they want to do things for you, right? And when you have that sense of radiance, and you're gracious and you say thank you, and there's this kind of effortlessness of things just moving, and that's the masculine. The masculine wants to do things for you, wants to direct and lead and guide and give you more things and show you things and give you gifts and take you places, and it's at the core, it's energetic. This is not the core about material things. That can be an expression, but it's something deeper than that, and it's a play, and it's that sense that when we really open up to this radiance of who we are, if you're a man or a woman, there's times when this is another really important point. There's times to be in the feminine essence, there's times to be in the masculine, right? Julie was saying that. So when you recognize the play of both, you can realize when to utilize each one, if you're taking care of a small child, maybe you want to be more of a feminine, motherly essence. If you're playing, football or something, maybe you want to be in like more of a masculine essence. And I think it's important to realize when you're in a romantic space with somebody to recognize which essence you want to be in and choose one. Don't be in the middle. Choose one and be in it. If you want to be with someone in the masculine essence, then be in your feminine essence and learn how to relax into that essence. And the more you can relax into that essence, then there's that trust that allows the masculine to step up, and be that for you. And if you want to be in the masculine essence and the feminine essence, then vice versa.
And I
so
think
recognizing and realizing that difference.
Beautiful. I think now in ascended relationships, people are letting go of this need to see one another through this gender bias or this lens of you've always been this way. And in a given moment and coming together through sharing or dialogue or just being so present and so attuned to one another, really my background is in acting and directing. We have this game called the mirror game, right? So you're actually mirroring the movements of the other person. The interesting thing is within about 1.5 minutes, you'll see that people begin to move within one another's energetic field. So there are no more conventions about who's leading and who's following.
Yeah.
It's so seamless. When one person starts to lead, the other person starts to follow, and then that person starts to lead, and then the other person starts to follow. And I think this is really the juice of the promise of an ascended relationship, is being able to be free in that leading and following, in the receiving and in the giving. Very exciting, I think. Very exciting times for ascended relationships now.
It's very energetic, it's out of the mind, get out of the mind and really be embodied, energetically be embodied, in order to be, when you're really, we've talked about this before, Jasmine and Brian, on another one of our shows, we talked about how people leave their bodies when there's trauma. They're actually only functioning out of these chakras. They leave their body because that's what's safe. And so the more embodied we are, the more we drop in energetically, we also get out of the head and more into the heart. And that's what's happening with both the masculine and the feminine, is that we're leading more energetically with the heart. And that's why these beautiful things have flowered for Brian after going through this traumatic situation. How old were you? Like
20.
Young? You were young. And so through that experience, you've activated and connected and now are more in alignment with Creator. So it's a beautiful story.
Thank you. It is a beautiful story.
Thank you so much. Again, this is all we have time for in our show today. So Brian, if you could let our Radiant Goddesses know your website again, where they can go to sign up for your newsletter, buy the book, and even come and see you in August. I'm sure our Radiant Goddesses would like to check that out.
Radiant Goddesses, you can find me at thebiglow.com. The book can be found there. The events, upcoming events, can be found there. More info, life coaching sessions, personal sessions also can be found there. And also, I enjoy connecting with Jasmine and Julia on Facebook as well. So that's another place. I'm doing some live Facebook videos there each week. And it's a great place to connect also.
Beautiful. Thank you for joining us on our show today. Thank you, Jasmine. Thank you, Brian. And have a beautiful day. Remember the Radiant Goddess, where wisdom and empowerment meet.